Here's the truth about the market. The market doesn't care about your fear. The market doesn't care about your hope. The market doesn't care about you at all. The market is neutral. This is why consistency is so important. You can't judge your trading based on 10 trades, or 20 trades, or even 50 trades. You need to think in terms of hundreds of trades. Most traders don't think this way. They think that if they have a good system, they should win most of the time right from the start. So when they hit a losing streak, they panic. They think something is wrong. They abandon their system and go looking for something else. But losing streaks are normal. They're part of probability. Even if you have a system that wins 70% of the time, you will still have periods where you lose 5 or 6 trades in a row. It's mathematically inevitable. Every pattern is a new pattern. Even if it looks the same as a pattern you saw before, the traders involved are different. The context is different. The outcome will be different. This is why anything can happen at any time. When you truly accept this, fear and hope lose their power. Because you're not attached to what happens on any individual trade, you're focused on executing your process over time. Let me give you a question to think about. What would your trading look like if you didn't care whether any individual trade was a winner or a loser? Not in a reckless way. You still execute your edge, you still manage risk, but emotionally, you're neutral. You're just executing your process. That's the state of mind that creates consistency. One of the deepest psychological issues that traders face is the need to be right. This need is so strong, so automatic, that most people don't even realize they have it. We learn from childhood that being right is good and being wrong is bad. Being right gets you praise, being wrong gets you correction or punishment. This conditioning runs deep. So when you come to trading, you bring this same framework with you. You want to be right about your analysis. You want to be right about your predictions. You want to prove to yourself and others that you know what you're doing. But the market doesn't work that way. In the market, you can be right and still lose money. You can be wrong and still make money. Being right has nothing to do with making money in the markets. Let me say that again because it's important. Being right has nothing to do with making money in the markets. Your job is not to be right. Your job is to execute your edge and manage risk. Think about a casino. Does the casino need to know which individual hand of blackjack will win or lose? No. The casino knows that over time, the odds are in their favor. They execute their edge on every hand. They don't care about individual outcomes. You need to think the same way. You need to develop an edge, define it clearly, and execute it consistently. Over time, if your edge is valid, you'll make money. But on any individual trade, anything can happen. The need to be right also shows up in another way. The need to prove the market wrong. How many times have you stayed in a losing trade because you just knew the market was wrong? You had done your analysis. You had good reasons for the trade. The market had to turn around. But the market doesn't care about your analysis. The market doesn't care about your reasons. The market is just doing what it's doing, and your job is to respond to what the market is doing, not to prove that you know better. Here's something I see all the time. Traders who blame the market for their losses. The market is manipulated. The big players are hunting my stop. This market is impossible to trade. The market makers are out to get retail traders. Do you hear the pattern? It's victim thinking. It's the belief that something outside of you is responsible for your results. But here's the truth. The market doesn't even know you exist. The market is not against you. The market is not trying to hurt you. The market is just a collection of traders, all making decisions based on their own beliefs, goals, and emotions. It's completely neutral. When you think of yourself as a victim, you give away your power. You make it impossible to learn and grow. Because if the market is rigged, if the game is unfair, then what's the point of improving? What's the point of working on yourself? Victim thinking keeps you stuck. It protects your ego by making losses about external factors instead of internal ones, but it destroys your ability to change. The most important thing I can tell you is this. You are responsible for your results. Not the market, not the big players, not the algorithm. You. You chose to take that trade. You chose to move your stop. You chose to hold on to that loser. You chose to overtrade. You chose to ignore your plan. Now I know that's hard to hear. Your ego doesn't want to accept that. Your ego wants to protect itself by finding something else to blame. But once you truly accept responsibility, everything changes. Because now you have power. Now you can do something about it. Now you can learn and grow and improve. The market is neutral. It's just information. It's just price moving up and down. Your job is to develop a way to interact with that information that produces a profitable outcome over time. And that starts with taking complete responsibility for your results. Let me ask you a question. If I flip a coin 10 times, what's the probability that it will land on heads? Most people would say 50%, and that's correct for any individual flip. But here's a better question. If I flip a coin 10 times, how many heads will I get? The expected value is 5, but will I actually get exactly 5 heads? Maybe, maybe not. I might get 3 heads. I might get 7 heads. Over time, if I flip the coin thousands of times, it will average out to 50%. But in any sample of 10 flips, the result can vary. This is how you need to think about trading. Your edge might win 60% of the time. That means out of every 10 trades, you expect to win 6 and lose 4. But that doesn't mean you'll win exactly 6 out of every 10 trades. You might have a streak where you win 8 out of 10. You might have a streak where you win 2 out of 10. Over time, over hundreds of trades, it will average out to 60%. But in the short term, anything can happen. When you understand this, when you really internalize it, you stop reacting emotionally to individual trades. You stop judging yourself based on whether your last trade won or lost. You focus on executing your process consistently and letting probability do its work. One of the most dangerous emotions in trading is the fear of missing out. We call it FOMO. You see a big move happening. Everyone is talking about it. The price is going up and up and up. You're not in the trade. You start feeling anxious. You start feeling like you're missing out on easy money. So you jump in. You don't wait for your setup. You don't follow your plan. You just get in because you don't want to miss it. And what happens? The moment you get in, the market reverses. You take a loss. You feel stupid. You feel like the market is against you. But the market isn't against you. You just made an emotional decision instead of a logical one. FOMO comes from the same place as all the other destructive emotions, the need for certainty and the fear of being wrong. When you see a big move happening without you, your mind interprets that as evidence that you're missing out. You're on the outside. Everyone else is making money and you're not. That feels bad, so your mind wants to fix it by getting in. But the truth is, you will miss moves. Every single day there are moves that you're not in. That's just part of trading. You can't trade everything. You can't be in every move. Your job is not to catch every move. Your job is to execute your edge when your setup appears. Professional traders miss moves all the time. They don't care because they know that their edge will present itself again. They know that there's always another opportunity. When you're operating from FOMO, you're operating from scarcity. You believe that this is your only chance. But that's not true. The market is always moving. Opportunities are always appearing. The question is, are you disciplined enough to wait for your setup, or are you going to chase every move that happens without you? After working with thousands of traders, I can tell you exactly what separates the consistent winners from everyone else. It's not intelligence, it's not education, it's not even the quality of their trading system. It's their beliefs about trading and about themselves. Winners believe that anything can happen. They truly accept uncertainty. They don't need to know what will happen next. Losers believe they need to predict the market. They think trading is about being right. Winners believe that every trade is just one instance in a series. They focus on executing their edge over time. Losers believe that every trade matters. They focus on being right on this trade. Winners believe they are responsible for their results. They look at losses as information about their process. Losers believe the market is against them. They look at losses as evidence that trading is unfair. Winners believe that losses are just the cost of doing business. They accept them without emotion. Losers believe that losses mean they failed. They take them personally. Do you see the pattern? It's all about beliefs. It's all about how you think about trading. And here's the good news. Beliefs can be changed, but you can't change them just by reading about them. You have to work with them. You have to challenge them. You have to consciously build new beliefs through experience and repetition. This is mental conditioning. This is the real work of becoming a successful trader. If you're new to trading, or if you're struggling and want to start over the right way, let me give you some advice that could save you years of pain and thousands of dollars. First, start small. I mean really small. Trade the smallest position size possible. Your goal in the beginning is not to make money. Your goal is to learn how to execute your plan without emotional interference. Most people do the opposite. They start with a big account because they want to make serious money, but they're not ready. They don't have the mental conditioning yet, so they blow up the account and have to start over anyway. Start small. Protect your capital. Give yourself time to develop. Second, define your risk before every trade. Know exactly how much you're willing to lose before you enter. Write it down. Put your stop in the market, and no matter what happens, honor that stop. This is not optional. This is the foundation of everything. If you can't control your risk, you can't trade successfully, period. Third, accept that losses are part of the business. You're going to lose. That's not a problem. That's not a failure. That's just trading. The only question is, are you going to lose small according to your plan, or are you going to lose big because you didn't honor your stop? Professional traders lose all the time, but they lose small. They follow their plan, and over time, their winners are bigger than their losers, so they make money. Fourth, focus on the process, not the outcome. Don't judge yourself based on whether your last trade won or lost. Judge yourself based on whether you executed your plan. If you executed your plan perfectly and the trade lost, that's a win because you're building the right habits. If you made money but you broke your rules, that's a loss because you're reinforcing the wrong habits. Process over outcome every single time. Fifth, think long term. You're not going to figure this out in 3 months. You're probably not going to figure it out in a year. This is a skill that takes time to develop. Most traders quit too early. They give up right before they would have figured it out. They get frustrated because they're not making money fast enough. But trading is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a skill. It's a craft. It takes time to learn, and if you're not willing to invest that time, you're not going to make it. Sixth, build beliefs that align with probability. This is the most important point. Every day, ask yourself, what do I believe about the market? What do I believe about losing? What do I believe about my ability to succeed? Write down your beliefs. Look at them honestly. Ask yourself, are these beliefs helping me or hurting me? If you believe that you need to know what will happen next, that belief is hurting you. Work on changing it. Remind yourself every day, I don't need to know what will happen next to make money. If you believe that losing means you failed, that belief is hurting you. Work on changing it. Remind yourself every day, losses are just the cost of doing business. This is mental conditioning. This is how you rewire your mind to think like a professional. Here's something that took me years to understand and even longer to accept. The market is a mirror. It reflects back to you exactly who you are as a trader. It shows you your beliefs. It shows you your fears. It shows you your weaknesses. If you're undisciplined in other areas of your life, you'll be undisciplined in trading. If you avoid responsibility in other areas, you'll blame the market. If you need to be right in other areas, you'll need to be right in trading. The market doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your potential. It only responds to what you actually do. This is why trading is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, because it forces you to confront yourself. It forces you to see your patterns. It forces you to grow. You can't fake it in trading. You can't pretend. Your results will show you exactly where you are. And that's actually good news, because it means you have complete control over your success. It's not about luck. It's not about having the right connections. It's not about being born with some special gift. It's about doing the internal work. It's about changing your beliefs. It's about building mental discipline from the inside out. If you're serious about succeeding in trading, you need to make a commitment right now. Not a commitment to making money, a commitment to becoming the kind of person who can make money consistently in the markets. That means you commit to working on yourself. You commit to examining your beliefs. You commit to building mental discipline. You commit to thinking in probabilities. You commit to taking responsibility for every result. This is not easy work. Your ego will resist it. Your ego wants to believe that you're fine the way you are, that you just need a better system, that you just need more information. But that's not true. What you need is transformation. What you need is a fundamental shift in how you think about trading and about yourself.
The good news is that this transformation is possible. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. I've watched struggling traders become consistently profitable. I've watched people who were on the verge of quitting completely turn their trading around. But they all had to do the same thing. They had to take responsibility. They had to challenge their beliefs. They had to commit to the process instead of chasing outcomes. You can do this too, but you have to be willing to do the work. Let me leave you with this. The market is not against you. The market is not out to get you. The market is not trying to take your money. The market is completely neutral. It's just information. It's just price moving up and down based on collective belief and action. Your experience of the market is created by your beliefs about the market. Change your beliefs, and you change your experience. You don't need to know what will happen next. You don't need to be right on every trade. You don't need to predict the future. You just need to develop an edge, define it clearly, and execute it consistently. You need to manage risk. You need to think in probabilities. You need to accept uncertainty. Most importantly, you need to understand that trading is not about the market. It's about you, your ability to execute, your ability to manage your emotions, your ability to stay disciplined when every part of you wants to break the rules.